Good morning. Today. Oh no. I closed my bookmark without my bookmark in it. Anyways. Mosiah 2:14 through 27. And there are a few things. So King Benjamin has started his discourse to the people. He's started talking to them about God's plan. And verse 17, it says, "And behold, I will tell you these things that ye may learn wisdom, that ye may learn that when ye are in the service of your fellow beings, ye are only in the service of your God." And it goes through this just a little bit, and it says, basically, this is the first and second commandment. It's basically when Jesus said, love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength, or soul. And the second is like unto it. But they say this in their commentary. As we serve others, we serve our Heavenly Father. There is an important question of conscience prompted by this verse. To be easily entreated and submissive to the commandments of God requires one to be humble. When we recognize the tender mercies of God in our lives, we love God and are filled with gratitude. We want to do good. We want to keep the commandments to show our love. Let's consider our responsibilities. What does it take to stir us up to do our duty? And I wrote that one in my scriptures because that is a very thought-provoking / self-evaluation question. What does it take to stir us up to do our duty? So what does it take for you to wake up and do the thing that you're supposed to? What does it take to make you do that hard thing you've been putting off? What does it take for you to listen to your Heavenly Father? And then it goes on to talk about, it tells a few stories. But I don't want to tell that one. But anyways. Okay, so it talks about being an unprofitable servant. So in verses 18 through 21, it talks about how we should thank our Heavenly King and how He is preserving you from day to day by lending you breath, that you may live and move and do according to your own will, even supporting you from one moment to another. I say, if ye should serve Him with all your soul, your whole souls, yet ye would be unprofitable servants. And it's talking about being indebted to God. And they have a quote by Joseph F. Smith that's rather long, but he goes through talking about how we're indebted to God, but I highlighted this part. It says, "It is true we can go to the earth, we find it prepared to a certain extent, and we cultivate, plow, and plant, and we reap the harvest. But God has ordained that the fruits of our labor shall be in subjection and in obedience to certain laws which He Himself controls, and which He has kept out of the power of man." And then it goes on to say that many may boast of having a great deal of wisdom and having accomplished a great deal, but he does not possess the power in and of himself. And so I liked that part about we can go to the earth, we can plant, cultivate, plow, and we can reap the harvest, but God has ordained that the fruits of our labor shall be in subjection and obedience to certain laws, which He keeps out of the control of man. And it just not like it goes to show, but it just kind of drives home the fact that, yeah, you can work hard all your life. You can try hard, and I can work on this project and I can make it as perfect as I possibly can. But the only reason that I can do that is because God has blessed me with these talents and these abilities and this way of thinking and this personality to do these things. It's not because I'm this way that I can do this. It's because God made me this way that I can do this, you know. And then Neal Maxwell, they give a quote by Neal Maxwell, and he says, I wonder if I should read it all. I'm going to read it all because it's good. While the egotistic urge of the natural man is to invite others, look at me, instead we should increasingly say, look to God and live. When our natural instinct is to claim credit, increasingly we should ponder what they have done for us. A rescuing which we mortals were absolutely powerless to... Am I right? Yeah, absolutely powerless to effect for ourselves. No wonder we are comparatively unprofitable servants. Both premortally and after the astonishing atonement, Jesus said, "Glory be to the Father." What a contrast to those of us unprofitable servants who, after doing a few good deeds, insist on keeping score. We worry over whether or not our little deed is noticed. We notice the size of the letters on the mortal marquees over the tiny little theaters where our own little plot is always being played. We continue to be overly concerned with getting mortal credit and over-establishing our worth. As God's children, we do have great value and genuine intrinsic individual worth. Must that intrinsic worth ever be at the mercy of our moods or our extrinsic, ephemeral measuring rods? He uses big words, and I'm sure Wendy could say them much better. But I really liked that little message from him about we can, keeping score and worrying about if our little deed is noticed and being overly concerned with getting mortal credit and over establishing our worth. I love the way he says it, because it's like, am I keeping score? Like, oh, well, I did 3 good deeds today. Okay, chalk that up for going to heaven side. Oh, one for the not so good side. I don't know. It's an interesting thought and something to ponder about. Another thought of this is concern with mortal credit, like looking good in the eyes of man, like vying for esteem from other people. What is that? That's vain? I don't know. Would Wendy call it vainglorious? I'm not quite sure. But it's like doing the good deeds to have man give us praise type thing. Looking for other people to give us approval when all we need is God's approval. That's who we should really be concerned with. Not our neighbor thinking that our lawn, it looks good, or whether our sisters think we're cool, or whether our sisters think we're racist, or whether or what our coworkers think of us. None of my coworkers are LDS or practicing LDS, and when I was fasting, I felt a certain amount of judgment from one of them, and kind of like a little bit of prompting and tempting from the other one, but I knew that Heavenly Father was watching me fast, and whether they said, nobody will know, it's like God will know. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care if I'm your best friend. I don't care if you think I'm the coolest person in this place. I care that God knows my heart. Anyways, I'm going on and on and on. I'm sorry. There's a lot of good stuff. And then, of course, C.S. Lewis, they give a quote by C.S. Lewis, and he goes, every faculty you have, your power of thinking or of moving your limbs from moment to moment, is given you by God. If you devoted every moment of your whole life exclusively to His service, you would not give Him anything that was not in a sense His own already. So that when we talk of man doing anything for God or giving anything to God, I will tell you what it is really like. It is like a small child going to his father and saying, "Daddy, give me 6 pence to buy you a birthday present." Of course the father does, and he is pleased with the child's present. It is all very nice and proper, but only an idiot would think that the father is 6 pence to the good on the transaction. And of course, we love the way he says things. So, anyways, just very thought-provoking ideas here about being indebted to God, and how we should show our appreciation every day for the breath that He lends us, our abilities, and just the things that we take for granted every day. I got my stimulus check, and I immediately was thinking about what I could buy with it. And I was like, first pay tithing. So I go on tithing, and as I type in Davis and Starla's numbers, I'm like, okay, I usually give them about $20, but this isn't my money to begin with, and it's a hard time, and Wendy's going through a hard time as well. And so I gave what I could. It's a stimulus check. It's free money. What am I going to do with it? Buy a laptop? So I gave them what I could. And I think that's what we're supposed to do with it, is help those who can't help themselves right now. So anyways, that's my whole spiel. That's me up on my horse. All right. I love you all. Can't wait to hear from you. And talk to you later.